Hey guys, this is a video I put together of installing a ECOXGEAR SoundExtreme 26-inch soundbar on my Polaris Ranger. The product seems good. The installation went well, no problems. I did run into an issue after all was said and done. The thing was working fine until I started the vehicle, and then it went off. The soundbar went off. So, and then it wouldn't come back on. I waited a couple minutes and then turned it back on. It came on and seemed okay. But then whenever I would give any gas, push the accelerator, the thing would go off again. And it seems like the problem is that, you know, the output voltage goes up when you start the thing, and the alternator or the stator or whatever the thing uses, the Ranger uses to charge the battery. When that kicks in, the output voltage climbs up, and when you accelerate, it increases as well. And it appears that the device doesn't like that higher voltage level and just shuts off. So I thought I was going to need to get a voltage regulator or something like that. I did call ECOX support, and they were helpful. They said they'd seen that before, and that indeed that is a recommendation. So I ordered a voltage stabilizer 12-volt regulator. It's supposed to operate with anything from 10 to 36 volts input, and then put out 12 volts. Up to the one I picked is 12 amp. The soundbar itself is rated at 10 amps. So, you know, if you find yourself in a similar situation, you want some kind of a voltage regulator stabilizer that can put out at least 10 amps. But we'll see how that goes. I'll add more information in the comments if that doesn't work for me. But hopefully that's going to solve that issue and everything's going to be good. So on to the video of the installation. All right, I got this soundbar from it's a ECOXGEAR that I'm going to install on my Polaris Ranger here today. There's a look at the thing. Controls, and then it's got several wires coming out, most importantly power in, but then it has some auxiliary in and out, and power out if you want to, you know, pigtail off and power other things from it. One of the things that I had trouble with and when researching was trying to see exactly what the possible mounting options were. None of the sites had good descriptions or showed what came in the box, so I'll show you just what came with it. I've got several of these clamps if you want to mount the thing on a roll bar or something, or you can bolt it on. The clamps come with some rubber strips so you can protect the surfaces. We've got several feet of cable here, power cable to run from the device to your power connections, battery, what have you. And then I got several different bolts here. And the options for mounting are, you have these guys that'll go on either end, and you can screw them on there at whatever angle works best for you, and then mount it up either with those clamps or with bolts by drilling into your roof or roll cage somewhere. But it also has this row of holes on the device, and these little bolts that will screw into those, and so you could mount directly to here as well. All right, so I'm gonna figure out the best place to put it and get started on this thing. All right, I figured out where I'm gonna mount it. I'm gonna use the feet that bolt onto the side of the soundbar, and I'm gonna mount it up here in the front on this section, sort of like this, as far forward there as it will go. It was interfering with my mirror, so I had the mirror mounted the other way around here, and it came out quite a bit more, but I flipped it around to the back side to move the whole thing back, and it's not going to interfere anymore. The top of the soundbar will kind of cut off the top part of this mirror, but there's plenty of mirror still visible and usable, so I think that's going to be fine. The only, well, one issue is that this thing has the speakers on the front light up, I mean, with different colors configurable, and then there's a light bar on the back that will also display different colors depending on what you choose, and that what will be the forward facing light bar is going to be, I think it might sort of be visible through this hole, but it might be kind of blocked. I don't see any way around that. An option might be to mount it back here in the back, but on this bar maybe, but I kind of want it up front where I can reach the controls. It does have a remote, but you know, remotes get lost or the batteries go out, and it'd be a pain in the butt to have to go to the back to mess with the controls, so I want it up front. The only other option might be to mount it outside the vehicle to take advantage of that light bar, but I don't think I want to do that. We plan to put a roof on this before long, so it needs to be inside the vehicle. The other thing is I'm by myself, so it would be kind of hard with these feet on here to hold this thing up to mark the holes where I need to drill. So I mounted the feet on here, and I saved the box that this thing was shipped to me in, and I cut a sliver of it and laid the feet with the soundbar mounted on here, marked some holes, and made myself a little template so I can mark the holes up front where I need to drill. So I'm going to go drill and mount this thing up there. Okay, so drilling the holes and getting this thing ready to mount. I drilled the first hole over here and then screwed in one of the mounts with my template in place. And then over on the other side, I held the mount up there and moved it front and back to get it kind of, you know, even with the other one, and then marked a hole and drilled that hole. You can see it lines up there. One thing I would recommend is drill a smaller pilot hole first in here, so you're not, you know, when you put a big bit up here and you're trying to make an accurate hole in just one spot, the big bit's going to have more of a tendency to want to walk away. So I drilled a smaller pilot hole, and then the bigger one, I believe this was a 1/4 inch bit, which was about right for the bolts that came with this thing. The only thing is, don't make your pilot hole too big, or else when you start on the next one with the bigger bit, it's just going to grab on there and bite and then stop and not want to turn. You might run into some trouble on the next hole. So I drilled just a really thin pilot hole with the smaller bit, and then the 1/4 inch bit for the big hole. All right, I'm gonna screw this thing up here now. Minor problem. This is the length of bolt out of what they sent that I need, but one of them on the left there is defective. You can see that it's supposed to be a hex head and it's filled in. Can't get anything in there. I can't use the longer one because it doesn't, the next size up, because it doesn't have threads all the way, and it so it's gonna, I won't be able to get the nut tight on it because there's too much of the shank there poking through. So for now, I'm just gonna use what I've got and grab a hold of this thing with some pliers or something to get it as tight as up here, to get it as tight as I can, and I'll buy a new bolt, bring it back out next time. All right, I've got it up there now. I don't have power to it yet, but the holes that I drilled and centering and everything looks great. Like I said, that bolt they gave me was defective, so this side is not tight. I just hung it up there without, I didn't want to make it too tight because I won't be able to get that thing back off since I can't use the Allen wrench in this thing. So before I actually drive this thing over any bumps, I'm gonna have to replace that bolt, but I've got it hung here for now so that I can run the wiring and finish up here. But going great. All right, so running the wiring now. This is the wire that comes out of the device, and then this is the wire, long length of wire that they give you to run to your power source. I wanted to run it along this channel in here, and then try to find the, well, anyway, let's come up here. So I wanted to come up through here and down along the roll cage rail, zip tied along there. It wouldn't quite fit under this this cover, so I loosened these bolts enough to lift this up so I could get it in there. The wire's not pinched or anything, but the head of it wouldn't fit through the gap without lifting it up a little and getting it in there. So I'm gonna run it down along here and then into the front hood area where I've got connections to power and ground. They make a version of this that doesn't require external power. It has a chargeable battery. It's like $100 more, but I had some concerns with the way I was wanting to mount it. The battery pack sits up here in the middle of the thing, and I think I was right to be concerned that that's going to jut out into where my mirror is, and it probably might not fit here where I wanted to mount it. And plus I had concerns about they didn't make it clear if you could charge that battery pack off of a 12 volt and continue running it even if the batteries are dead, while it's charging. So and I didn't want to, it just seemed better to have constant power to the thing and not have to worry about charging a battery pack and all that kind of stuff. Although it would be nice not to have to run wires, but it is what it is. So like I said, running this wire down along the roll cage, and then I'm gonna go, I took this screw out of this panel here. It's T25, yeah, T25, one of those star heads. But I took that screw out so I could lift this up and get under there. There's not much in there. There's just that's access to the headlight assembly, but there's nothing in there that would interfere with this wire. So I'll be able to run the wire through there and into here to connect it to the power. All right, I've got the power connected. Let's just run down through here like we talked about. I'm not a real big fan of these zip ties here, but I need something to keep it in place. I don't know, maybe they make something to some kind of channel or something you can put on here to run wires down. And if I ever want to put a windshield on, which we've talked about, this may cause some problems, but we'll cross that bridge when we come to it. But everything's wired up and the thing is working. Let me see if I can figure out how to play that sound while I record the video here, and you can see the lights in operation and stuff.